My name? That's not important. So, just call me Nature Lover. This may not be a very serious story, but it is real just the same. Ever since I can remember, I've always been insecure. The beginning was the good life. I had a mom, a dad, a roof over my head, clean clothes, and food to eat. But that all changed one day when my dad left. My parents have always fought every single day. Even when I went to my room, I could hear them screaming. Soon after they divorced, when I was 4. My mom made me believe that my dad was a horrible, horrible man. When I began school, I was a loner. I didn't have any friends during elementary. I was bullied because I was different. People thought I was weird and a teacher's pet. It was just me, my books, and my music. And when I began middle school, I had my first friend. Things were turning around, but it didn't last long. At home, I was given more chores around the house, and since I didn't really go out, I wasn't a real kid. It was like I skipped childhood. I went from baby to grown up. I had to make grown up decisions, and I had to act like one. Not only that, but I was being bullied again for the same exact reasons. And when I got into high school, the bullying stopped. However, my mom got more controlling, and Dad became my savior. He said I was being manipulated by my mom, and I believed it. I was doing all the chores in the house, and she became unstable. She shamed me. She neglected me. But she had a little bit of compassion. But over the years, she became more bitter. When she had an accident, she couldn't walk. I had to do everything for her. Well, that is except bathe her. She could go to the bathroom on her own, and she could wash herself. But I had to push her around in a wheelchair. And then her first knee surgery came. She became more bitter than ever before. She took out all her stress on me. She was bedridden. I had to bathe her and help her get out of bed. And then when she, quote, recovered, she could walk. Well, sort of. She limped, and she still had to use the wheelchair. All the while, at school, things got hairy. I had some very adult conversations with my boyfriend. I've had a couple before him, but he introduced me to sexting. Later on, after we broke up, I swore I'd never do it again. I hated it. I felt so bad and even more insecure. And suddenly, one of my exes got a hold of one of the conversations. He distributed it out to the public. When I met a guy on Snapchat, he sent it to him. And that made him blackmail me into calling him master. But I refused him and blocked him. But the ex that sent the conversations, his friend, cornered me on Instagram. He pretended to be my friend. I trusted him. I believed in him. But he cornered me with a couple of other guys. I felt so betrayed. But over time, I got over it. But I'm always scared and watching my back. When I got to 10th grade, things got even more worse. The day before Thanksgiving last year, my mom's friend wasn't answering her phone. So we went to her house to check on her. When we got to her house, she sent me in, alone. I walked around until I got to her bedroom. She was lying on the floor, frozen stiff. I did everything I could to save her. I checked her pulse, and it was silent. I checked her breathing. Nothing. I put her on her back and started to do CPR, but she died in my arms. Mom called the ambulance and waited. The stench of the body was horrific, but I kept going. When they arrived, I broke down. After that, Mom was as bitter as you can get. She became more controlling and a total perfectionist. It got to the point where I started to self-harm. I still have the scars. And then both of my parents ganged up on me. They were like partners in crime, respecting each other finally. And it was nice for once, but the combined nagging and shaming took its toll. I became insecure to the point where I started having panic and anxiety attacks. I began worrying about problems only grown-ups should deal with, and it didn't help that my mom and dad were both diabetics. My stress levels were and are through the roof. Because of it, I haven't had my period in a long while. I still haven't had it, and it's getting dangerous. But when I thought it couldn't get any worse, it did. Mom lost her job for no apparent reason. The school she worked at is giving us money until the start of the next school year. After her second knee surgery, she had no one to talk to. So guess who she took it out on? Me. Day by day, she pointed out all my flaws. It came to the point where she got mad at the tiniest things. Like that her coffee isn't hot enough, or that her bagel doesn't have enough jam or butter on it. Even spots that I, quote unquote, didn't clean well enough. Dad went on her side and completely agreed with her. I was alone. I then began to have suicidal thoughts. But thankfully, my real friends have my back. But I don't trust them like I used to. I'm looking into a counselor, but no luck so far. I don't want conflict between my parents, and they think I'm going through a phase. So I'm waiting for 11th grade to get a counselor at school, but I'm hanging by a thread. I'm 16 and about to be 17 next month. I'm a struggling teen that isn't a teen. I have never known a mother's love or any kind of love. I have never known childhood. All I've known is control, manipulation, lust, betrayal, heartbreak, and pain. Even though my parents spew sweet words and hugs, they feel like lies and chains. I am a chained and overprotected person. I am insecure as hell and fear loneliness. I am the privileged girl who knows no love. I know there are more people who are worse than me, so I apologize if this comes off as whining, even though I try not to. Thank you, nature lover.